chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news, and we have got 18 items on the agenda today, a baker's dozen, if you will. So let's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Let's talk about them. First up, a complete new thing for good news. We have an item that is not good news, but it's important news. And this is something that I am definitely not the first person to cover, but it's the Mattel Jurassic Park YouTube brouhaha. Now, basically, long story short, a YouTube channel, two YouTube channels, I think, ordered a bunch of Jurassic Park figures from ToyWiz, I think was the supplier. And when they received them, they made some reviews about them. Sounds pretty basic, doesn't it? Well, guess what? Those toys weren't supposed to come out when they did. So Mattel got onto YouTube and had their accounts banned, cancelled, done, boom, scorched earth. And like, what? Absolutely baffling. If you want more information, I recommend Laura Legends and Retro Blasting. When I first heard this story, I thought, oh, that can't be right. Surely they must have got hold of the figures by some nefarious means. There must have been someone like stole them from the factory and they paid silly money to get them. No, they literally, from what I understand, they ordered the figures from a normal website, they got them, they made the reviews, and then without even contacting them, Mattel went straight to YouTube, announced breach of copyright, infringement, all this kind of stuff, and got their channels shut down. I think one was shut down, and one got a copyright strike. And basically, Mattel were like, I really want to explain the situation using foul language because that's what it deserves, but I don't want to do that. But it is just so egregious that Mattel were like, no, we don't want people talking about these figures. We shouldn't have let them out. We made a mistake, so I want to drop F-bombs, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, I know, Retro Blasting said this as well. These are big companies, they're corporations. They don't care about YouTubers. They don't care about people who are fans of their product. They just care about the black and white and their bottom line. And this was the easiest route for them to get this off of the internet. What they could have done is they could have messaged the YouTube channel and said, hey, those weren't supposed to go out. We'd be really grateful if you took those videos down. Maybe in return, we could give you some figures. We could make you like a little YouTube kind of partner for us. No, instead they were like, double middle fingers, you're gone. And it's like, wow, you guys aren't even pretending to not be an evil corporation. I mean, we know, and it's difficult because I just watched the Retro Blasting video, so I don't want to just repeat what he said because he made a really good statement about it. But it's just baffling that companies can be so tone deaf to be like, no, it's the optics on this aren't going to look bad for us. We're just going to shut down this YouTube channel that has made a living out of being fans of ours. It's not like it was a YouTube channel called Jurassic Park Sucks or We Hate Mattel. They were YouTube channels celebrating the product of Jurassic Park. And the biggest thing is, they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do a single thing wrong. They ordered figures from a website, and when those figures arrived, they made reviews of them. That's literally what toy reviewers do. It's baffling that this came as some kind of revelation to Mattel, and their first course of action was to contact YouTube and have the channels shut down. It is incredible, and the amazing thing is, Mattel does not care in the slightest how this looks to anyone. They don't give a tiny rat's ass. To quote The Rock from 1998, Mattel wipes its ass with what you think. It doesn't matter what you think. It's just, I got off on a bit of a rant there. She got the adrenaline pumping. I wonder if that was actually even remotely entertaining or just irritating to listen to. but that's the bottom line. So if you want a much more well-expressed and vocalized example of what has actually happened, go watch Laura Legends, go watch Retro Blasting, because they managed to articulate everything without even the need to swear. You could see me, I think I burst a vein in my forehead, not just dropping F-bombs and throwing up middle fingers left and right. But it really is crazy. Because what's to stop Hasbro from accidentally, giving a company the figures early and they release them, I do a review, boom, model behavior, shut down. And it'd be like, it's just incredible. Apparently one of their Instagrams was shut down as well, and it's like, people actually rely, if you have a certain number of subscribers, if you're making a certain amount of money from your channel, you can rely on it for a living. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. And if this channel was just blipped out of existence, what the... I don't know what I'd do. Well, I know what I would do. I would open up a new channel and start all over again, because you can't keep a good man down. Or me. But it's just amazing. So honestly, Mattel, because this is a family-friendly show, I cannot use the words that I want to tell you exactly what I think of you. But that's why I'm so happy that I'm such a small, little, tiny little fish in the YouTubing pond that no company has bothered reaching out to me like Mattel or like Hasbro. So I haven't had to give the corporate spiel of being like, ooh, can I have a figure, please? Ooh, do you like that? Ooh, close to the hole, sir? No, it's so... it's liberating to be able to do videos like lists of why this company's products suck or why I don't like this. It feels good to have that freedom. It's like the freedom you get when you're on death row and you can just do whatever the hell you want. And that's what I want to keep with this channel. So, it feels good. And granted, it's easy to sit there and go, well, yeah, it's easy to say that you don't want to have a Hasbro sponsorship when they're not offering you one. I know. It is. So that's where my mindset is. It's like, thank goodness I'm still like independent in that regard, because then I can talk trash about the different manufacturers and it don't bother me none. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But it is what it is. It kind of blew my mind. So yeah, Mattel, you can do one, mate. You are not display. Actually, you know what? There you go. I've just created an award. Maybe it'll become like an annual thing. The non-model behavior award for the company that shows the least model behavior. Congratulations, Mattel! You win the first ever inaugural non-model behavior, displaying unmodel behavior. That goes to you, Mattel. Congratulations. That's a chain you can wear around your neck like Jacob freaking Marley. It's an albatross that you're going to carry with you now, because granted, your average consumer on the street, they don't know about YouTube channels. They couldn't give a monkeys. But people who do know in the industry, we know that you suck. And I appreciate that you're actually not any different to any other major corporation. Corporations don't care. They don't care in the slightest about people, but some of them are at least kind enough to try and pretend like they do. And they have front people who kind of soften the image of this megalomaniacal corporation that doesn't give a tiny rat's ass about the people who actually buy the products. They just want the bottom line. We all know it, but it's nice not to have it shoved in your face. And Mattel, you failed on that one. McFarlane, DC, Disney, anyone else, Hasbro, they're all good enough to at least kind of pretend that they value the people buying the products as opposed to just the money that they hand over. Whereas you guys, you're like, nope, we don't care about nothing. We got Jurassic Park money. So let's see, what does Mattel do? They do Jurassic Park, they do Masters of the Universe, they do WWE figures, and a few others, I'm sure. Luckily for me, it's very easy to like make a stand because I don't collect them. You know, if Hasbro did this, I would be in danger of being a real hypocrite, because I would be slamming them the same way, but then still buying the products, because I don't know if I could distance myself from that, because I rely on Hasbro products too much, because that's what this channel is mostly based on, because I still love them. That would be really difficult. It's like, I felt really scummy recently, because I took such a stand against WWE, and then I bought the Royal Rumble, and I was like, oh, well, way to give up on your principles. But yeah, it is what it is. We're only human. And that's something important to take from this as well. We're all only human. So maybe try acting like it. I think it's so easy for people, like in their ivory towers, in offices and corporations, not to see people as people. It's just things and numbers and lines and spreadsheets. But it's a cowardly thing. It's a cowardly thing to pretend that they're not real people, because it makes it so much easier to do trash things like this. And that's what this was. It was a trash thing. So yeah, Mattel, shame on you. Congratulations, inaugural winner of the Not Displaying Model Behavior Award. Whew. I'm sorry you guys had to see that, but I wanted to get my 2 cents in as well. Right! Let's move on with the good news. The way I'm going to structure these videos going forward, I'm still going to break them down into chapters, but I'm going to do the toy news first, because this is a toy channel, and then I'm going to do all the supplemental stuff afterwards. So if you want your toy fix, boom, here you go. And if not, well, then what are you doing here if you don't want toys? But if you want toys and more, then it comes afterwards. So let's look at our first story of the day. First up, we've got pictures of Darkwing Duck. I loved Darkwing Duck in the 90s. Darkwing Duck, when there's trouble you call DW. Darkwing Duck, let's get dangerous. That should be the tagline for this show. Let's get dangerous. So Darkwing Duck, he looks really, really good. Soft goods as well. So many accessories. I love the look of this. I've been looking. I probably just wasn't looking hard enough, but I couldn't find any other information. I've just got these pictures here. So hopefully on the next good news, I'll have more info with regards to price, release, availability, all that good stuff. But in the meantime, just take a look at Darkwing Duck. DW has never looked better. I'm really excited for this figure. I don't collect a Disney line like this, but just as a standalone Darkwing Duck, I'd be very tempted to go for this because he just looks great. Super 7 have also announced more reaction figures, and they are going crazy with the different lines, but I love it. So first of all, we've just had the announcement, no images, just the announcement of Super 7 Parks and Rec figures, which is a really odd choice. I'm not against it. I enjoy Parks and Rec. It's the lesser of the Parks and Rec office double act, but still, I enjoy it. A Ron Swanson action figure, I could be down for that. So no idea as to what it's going to include, but they just announced that's what we're doing. And in the same vein, they have also announced Muppets. These are all reaction figures, so they're all 3.75 inch on the card backs. Muppets is a perfect fit for Super 7. Honestly, the original Muppets figures, or the ones not original, but the ones that we had a few years ago, they were fantastic. I can't remember who made them. I'll look it up. It might have been McFarlane? I don't know though. But they were fantastic. So Super 7 has got a tall bar to meet. But then again, with reactions figures, they're not made to be super amazing. They are smaller scale and a bit more basic. So either way, it's just nice to see Muppets still in the popular zeitgeist. But then we got a couple of really big ones. There are the Disney reaction figures, and these are real old school vintage Disney characters and looks. So if you love your classic Disney, then this could be the start of a big collection, because Lord knows you have almost limitless source material to mine characters from. And if this line is popular, I have no doubt that Super 7 will be happy to make a whole bunch of them. And then finally, the ones that I'm really, really interested in, the ones that I saw the pictures of and was like, yeah, that hits the old nostalgia bone perfectly. McBain action figures. It's so funny that in a recent video I did the whole Mendoza McBain quote. If you haven't seen that episode, then what are you doing? Why don't you watch every single episode of my channel religiously? What is the matter with you? You are the problem. Right, I'm going to get onto Mattel, get you cancelled, pal. Gosh, that situation, just unbearable. I was going to make a joke about it that I was going to do a skit where I'm calling Mattel trying to get other YouTubers shut down, but I then didn't because I was like, no, it's not a funny situation. But I've spoken about that already. So back to the happy stuff. Super 7 McBain figures. They look awesome. I think just the set of the 4 of those up on the wall, yeah, that could look really cool. McFarlane have shown a preview image of Arkham Knight. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because, of course, no guns. And Arkham Knight, he has these 2 pistols. That's the whole thing in Arkham Knight. Batman is wandering around, Gotham City. Oh, look, it's Arkham Knight with his 2 pistols that he's shooting at me with his guns that he has because he's the Arkham Knight. But then again, look, if you can have Peacemaker without guns, then really, everything is fair game. So Arkham Knight looks cool. It's a cool design. It's funny, the game was the weaker of the Arkham series because of all those GD Batmobile sections. Too much! Alright, Rocksteady from a game that came out 10 years ago, I'm complaining now. Too much Batmobile. But still, the design of the Arkham Knight looked wicked. One thing I'm surprised by though is it looks like his pants are just like black, but in the game I'm sure they were kind of a red camouflage sort of thing. He looked like he came straight out of Dudleyville, but I guess they've gone for a different look. Still, he looks very cool just in this one image. So since it's like a character that could be like a standalone piece for me, I would be tempted to get him if he was not 7-inch. I just realized that's what's going to stop me from getting him because he's just not going to fit with anything else. Damn you, McFarlane! I mean, he fits with other 7-inch figures, but I don't have 7-inch figures in general, so besides my Mortal Kombat collection. So yeah, I won't get him, but he does look kind of fun. Alright gentlemen, pepper your wallets because Q3 2023 we're going to be getting a Hot Toys Boba Fett. Now I know you're thinking, but we already have a Hot Toys, but quarter scale. Ah, there you go. Not 1/6. They're going extra, a quarter scale Boba Fett done in the Book of Boba Fett style with every different accessory and accoutrement under the sun. Look at all the different images. You are spoiled for choice. Your wallet is going to be going, I got nothing left. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but you know it's going to be expensive. Yeah, there isn't a price that I could find. Again, I'm going to update it if I do get that info, but still, just looking at the pictures, it looks like they literally shrunk down Boba Fett and was like, here you go, it's your own Mandalorian right there with all the accessories. Enjoy. Looks super cool. So if you have the space and the money, the things I'm always complaining that I don't have, even though I'm surrounded by action figures, so clearly I'm doing all right. But yeah, a 1/4 inch Boba Fett from Hot Toys, you know that's going to be mega, so look out for it next year. Now this next one I made a whole video on yesterday, which didn't actually get many views, so I think I should have just included it with good news, so I'll just say it very quickly. Star Wars Vintage Collection Boba Fett playset. There you go, I got all the words in the right order there. Yep, Hasbro Star Wars did their live stream, they announced a whole bunch of stuff, but the main sort of takeaway was the vintage Boba Fett Jabba's Palace playset. It looks really fun. It's $229 though, so that's a spicy meatball, a spicy rancor ball. That sounds weird. I don't think rancors have... No, either way, that's a thought experiment. Let's move on, shall we? Let's not talk about Rancor balls. This playset looks really great, but it's got a big price sticker. It's going to be up for pre-order in the next day or two, but it's only shipping to the US, Canada, and the UK. So it'll be out around about August next year, and that's all I'm going to tell you. Sticking with the Hasbro Star Wars though, they did announce also a Din Djarin Morak figure when he's in disguise with Bill, what's his name? Is it Bill the comedian? I forget his name. But yes, you know, when they're undercover in the Imperial gear. So that's a vintage Din Djarin that you can get your hands on. And also from the Black series, this is going to be a big one, all right? Actually, this is one that you might, if you're on the shelf about or on the fence, you're not on the shelf, toys are on the shelf. We're on the fence about getting toys for our shelves. Dark Trooper, Black Series Dark Trooper. These things, I'm telling you, people are going to want to army build these. People are going to want to have displays of like 10 Dark Troopers being cut down by Luke Skywalker. These things are going to fly off the shelves. I'm calling it now, all right? I don't collect them, and I'm not a speculator, so I'm not going to buy one for the sake of it. I'm just saying, if you're a Black Series person, get your pre-orders in, because I'm guessing these are going to be a hot commodity. They look pretty cool. The Dark Troopers are kind of terrifying until they're not. It's like, that's always the thing. Star Wars always sets up a big bad, and nothing can defeat them until something can easily defeat them. But it is what it is. So yeah, look out for those. They look kind of cool. And that does it for the toy news, but now some other little bit of tidbits from around the entertainment world and a few recommendations as well. First of all, it's Thursday morning here in the UK. That means I've just watched AEW Dynamite and oh my goodness, I love AEW so much. They just keep giving. It is so by the fans for the fans. We got so much on AEW Dynamite on the free TV show. We had a random cameo from Switchblade Jay White. I love the interconnected universes we have here. People can just turn up and it's like, oh wow, there you are. We had Keith Lee make his debut, which I was impressed by because I have not seen much of anything from Keith Lee, just a couple of tiny snippets, and I'm like, oh, he can do a backflip, whoop-de-doo. But actually, to see him on screen wrestling, he is gigantic. He is a fridge of a human being. And the way he launched Isaiah Cassidy, I've never seen one human being throw another one so high that I think they almost passed out from oxygen deprivation. But that was impressive. So far Keith Lee has got off to a good start. Then we had CM Punk teaming up with Jon Moxley against FTR. That is a dream match. Spooge McDuck over that one. Incredible. And then the main event, Hangman Adam Page and Lance Archer bled buckets in their main event. Hangman is racking up an incredible title run so far. He's an underdog champion and he's so freaking likable. I really dig what they're doing with Hangman. Jake's involvement, we got to see a short arm clothesline from Jake Roberts. My heart. And then the final, the finish, I'll tell you it now because it's so wonderfully creative. Hangman's finishing move is a lariat, a buckshot lariat, where he'll springboard himself into the ring over the top rope and then bam, hit a lariat. So to stop him from doing that, his opponent took down the top rope. He was like, well, good luck doing that. And then at the end of the match, he does the handspring off the referee's back into the lariat. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Thank you, AEW. Absolutely wonderful. If you're a wrestling fan and you haven't been watching this, for the love of God, will you go watch AEW? Speaking of recommendations, finally, I sat down and I watched Ozark on Netflix. If you're not familiar with Ozark, it's Jason Bateman from Arrested Development, and long story short, he plays a family man who gets in deep with the Mexican drug cartels, and he has to go to this small town called Ozark to launder money for them. And essentially, I see it as the spiritual successor to Breaking Bad. If you enjoyed Breaking Bad, this is almost exactly the same kind of thing where it's an average Joe who has to essentially go bad to save himself and his family. And I'm only 5 episodes in, and I'm so happy. I'm 5 episodes into the first season, and there's 3.5 seasons to go. I'm so on board with this show. So if you like your crime dramas, if you enjoyed Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, Ozark is right up there. So far, I don't know if they're going to stick the landing, but from what I've seen, I'm absolutely hooked. Go watch Ozark. And then on the completely different side of the spectrum, I just watched Encanto. And that's delightful. They don't talk about Bruno, no. That's what made me watch Encanto. I kept hearing this Bruno song on the radio and I was like, this is really catchy. It sounds like a Disney song. I was right. It was from Encanto. Thank you, Track ID. So I gave it a try. I sat down and watched Encanto. It's a little bit twee and it's completely by the numbers. All right. So if you want a by the numbers Disney Pixar movie, this is it. All the dramatic beats are all there. You could plot it out in a graph, but it's very pretty. The songs are all catchy. It's a good time. It's a little too long. You could have told that story in an hour and a half, but still, I enjoyed Encanto. And in future entertainment news, Futurama entertainment news, Futurama is coming back. This show has had so many lifelines thrown to it, but people love Futurama. I enjoy Futurama. I'm not a massive Futurama fan, but in the words of Professor What's-His-Name, good news, everyone. I've never done his voice before. I think that was pretty bad, but I might workshop it. Probably not, though, because I'm not a big Futurama guy. But if you are, then Futurama is going to be coming to Hulu around about this time next year. Well, at some point in 2023. They've gone into production now for a 2023 release at some point in the year. Speaking of releases, the new season of South Park has come out as well, and it's just good old South Park. Again, humor that sort of mirrors what's going on in the world, which, let's face it, there's a lot of humor to mine. Well, it's kind of gallows humor, but still, South Park is on its typical form, very entertaining, loving what I'm seeing from South Park. And finally, I think this was announced a little while ago, I just didn't pick up on it, but Apple TV are doing a Godzilla TV show. That could be interesting. I'm interested to see where this goes. I don't know anything about it besides I just saw an article about, Apple are doing this with Godzilla and they could carry on with this story. And I'm like, I didn't even know this was happening. But it's going to be set in the Universal epic, what do they call it? The Monsters, the Titans, Monsters universe. Nope, it's gone, but you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's going to take place straight after Godzilla vs. King Kong, and what is it like living in a world where all of these monsters exist? I think it could be kind of interesting. I enjoyed bits of the films, but I wasn't a huge fan. But a TV show, I could maybe get on board with that. So I'm excited to see what we get from a Godzilla TV show from Apple. It could be good. And folks, that does it for Good News for today. A weird, rambly, ranty, unusual episode, but I hope you enjoyed it. I had more emotion in me about that whole Mattel thing than I expected, but I just don't like bullies, and that felt like a bullying situation. That's one of my buttons. It's a big thing for me, is bullies. I don't like bullies. Did I just say that? I'm pretty sure I did. And Mattel, you're a bunch of bullies, and that kind of sucks. Real shame. I'm disappointed. I'm not surprised, but I am disappointed. So what's not disappointing is if you smash that like button for me. There you go, brought it back around again. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
It's the Rhino! If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to press the like, share and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step beyond in supporting the channel, you can do by going over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior, where you can watch all of the exclusive videos on there and even nominate next stories for the As Told by Toys videos. I almost forgot my lines there. And if you want to get a t-shirt, you can get a t-shirt. You can get a model behavior t-shirt by going to teespring.com. Check the link in the description below. And you see those people? Those are all the Patreon supporters. Oh, bless their little hearts. They keep the channel going. All right, I'm done now. Bye.